Oh my God, it's day 12 of the 12 Days of Amplify. It's been epic. And today we have two sets of conversations with two people on each set, which is so amazing. So first we're gonna have a little ladies chat. Yeah, we are. I'm gonna invite Emma back on. Hey Emma.
Hi.
How are you doing? Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited. And you got the white memo. The light is
I guess
shining.
so. Well, I had to match you with all your beautiful outfits every day.
Oh my gosh, which has been so stressful. I'm like, I think I need to update my wardrobe. No, this has been really fun and educational for me. And also I'm really seeing some themes and it's really exciting. I'm really excited for this community. So, well, tell us about you. Where in the world are you? And tell us a little bit about your year.
Yeah, I'm in Burlington, Vermont, where we are semi in lockdown again, a little bit.
Yep.
And I am a singer-songwriter and violinist and live looping artist. And I kind of have a Bjork sound with a little bit of Andrew Bird, with a little bit of Eastern European music. And somehow my printer just turned on and started printing, if you can hear that noise.
What is it telling you? What's coming out? I want to know if it's like a message from the universe.
Blank. I think it looks blank. So I don't know what that says.
Oh, I hear it. Ready? I'll read that for you. That says that it is time to end this year powerfully and create with a blank slate your 2021.
Yeah, excellent. I always choose a word for the year. So 2021 is purpose. And I feel like that's what Amplify has been. It's really been about stepping into purpose. And so a big thing for me, because most of my life has to do with in-person teaching and with touring, as I'm sure many musicians out there. So I just really switched gears this year to restart an old business that I used to do in person and move it all online, which is called She Sings Out Loud. And it's all about really helping upcoming women and femme singer-songwriters to transform their fear and their doubt and their shame and their overwhelm by reclaiming their soul sound. That's what I like to call the authentic voice.
Oh, I like that.
And their feminine power, so they can really be fearless in sharing their music and make an impact. So that's what I've been up to, is creating online courses and hosting these amazing retreats online and workshops with this incredible group of women, and just been great to connect with people who are really also committed to using this year as an act of transformation rather than an act of fear.
I love that so much. And that's really like the underlying theme that I've been hearing from Amplify members, which is so exciting. And talk about empowering awesome, badass women. I'm going to bring on Charmin Tolly, because I think that she fits right in that category if you've ever heard her speak. So Charmin,
hi.
welcome.
I made it. Hi.
So
Hi.
we've got a little feedback. So you've got to go to your cam
Here.
mic,
Better?
audio,
Is
and then
that
click echo cancellation. There you go. Perfect.
Okay.
You
Okay.
got it. Charmin, thanks so much for being here also with Emma. I don't know if you just heard Emma's sharing about how she's pivoted this year to really creating this community of female songwriters, and you popped in right when she was talking about that. And here you are, one of the most powerful women I know in our community.
Really?
Yeah, really. Anytime you open your mouth, I think everyone is just like hanging on every word. You're like, you're a straight shooter. You're funny about it, but you're also like, you've written for Frank Sinatra, and like you have a huge career that is also just like jaw dropping, and you're so humble about it. So it's really neat to have you here.
My pleasure. And Emma's awesome too. She's doing awesome work with these new budding songwriters, and I just love hearing about it, and I love all the talent that is on your site, Cheryl Amplify. It's so versatile, and it's so vibrant, and it's so inclusive. I just love it.
Yeah, it's great that you're both on this particular call today, because besides being amazing songwriters and singers and performers and just articulate human beings, you also both this year really decided to dive into this thing that you started a while ago, which is providing courses for people, and you weave in your music really seamlessly. So we heard a little bit about Emma's. Charmin, tell us about what you've been working on this year and how you've been able to pivot this way.
Okay, it started with the concept of blooming. That's where it actually started years and years and years ago. And I save ideas like that, like a squirrel, because I'm like, there's something there, but I'm really too busy right now to deal with it. So this last year, it actually blossomed. I wrote the first song, I wrote the second song, and I really got into the concept of that a lot of women, a lot of people go through of being hard workers, responsible workers for everybody else. And you're like helping everybody else bloom and their dreams come true and whatever they need. But somehow you just never get to yours. And people think lots of times like that you're doing, you're doing great. You're doing what you want to do. In fact, you're doing what they would wish that they could do, but you're really not doing your thing because you're afraid of it. Because you're afraid. Because it's your heart. And if you put your heart out there and it's rejected, it's really going to hurt. And that's the crux of my whole Live Your Bloom concept is you can identify that thing that you want to do. And it could be big and it could be very small and simple. But whatever it is going to transform you. If you take the stand and you say, I need to do this to breathe. I have to do this. I have to paint.
Yeah.
Why is it so many stars and ex-presidents can take up painting and we all think it's so great, and they're all flowers,
Huh.
I could play flowers, but but I'm not going to go have But why is that we have to wait till we become famous to say I'm going to take up painting and I'm going to let the world see it? You don't have to be famous. It's the journey. And it took me this long to realize it's the journey. Once you fulfill yourself and you feel like you're blooming, it affects everything in your life. And it becomes, it's a synergistic effect. It just, oh, I want to do that. Oh, I want to do that. I always wanted to do that. And then you inspire other people, So that's what I believe. So that's what I'm working on.
I love it. And I love that it's so funny because you and Emma are kind of on opposite ends of who you're attracting into your world. Emma, it sounds like you're working with younger artists that are just trying to find their voice and overcome those fears. And Charmin, you specifically work with seniors that are looking to overcome whatever fears or stories or things that have stopped them from moving on into that next act of their lives to really bloom. So it's so interesting that you're both so aligned with this idea of overcoming your own fears to be really fulfilled, really finding your voice and just finding this joy. And you've each got very specific types of women that you're attracting, which is really amazing. Women and women identifying. So really, really exciting. How do you, whoever wants to talk for, by the way, everyone listening, I did not plan these two musicians that also have such aligned programs. Like I did not plan this. This was all just like, hey, here are the free time slots. Who wants to hop onto this? So this was very like serendipitous that you're both ended up on the same
and
call.
We're in the same PUP, which stands for Power Up Pod, for those that don't know.
You are in the same pod. I totally
We are.
forgot.
Yeah.
I love that.
And Charmin's been on my podcast, my Facebook Live show, and so lots of cool connections that happen in Amplify for those that want to join.
Oh
It
my
did
God.
happen,
Oh yeah, you're
yeah.
talking about Amplify. I've got this little ticker going here. So if you are a musician and you're like, I want to be in with amazing people like this, go check this out. The link will be there. By the way, we're getting some comments coming in. Michael, who's in Amplify, says, Emma, you rock. Sarah Jelly is saying, Charmin, you both are so Sarah says, Amen, Charmin. So I don't know what that was too specifically, but I feel like I could say that after every sentence you say. So it's applicable. And then Jenna says her first love is music and songwriting is a great outlet, which is so true. So that's a perfect transition into, I wanted to hear from both of you. How do you incorporate your own art, your own songwriting into whatever you've got going on right now? So essentially what's going on for you musically? Emma, if you want to go, and then we can pop to Charmin.
Sure. Well, I will never forget the moment when, Cheryl, you said to me that I'm in one phase. For those that don't know, we have this musician's success cycle. So one phase, which is the creative phase. And so it's been really helpful to just find balance, that when I'm creating my own music or I'm creating course content, that there's still an element of my own creative process that's present. So what I have going on with my music is I'm working on a whole bunch of new singles, which will be released in the new year. And I'm going to be releasing one single a month for 2021. And part of this is my big goal is to really get some music licensed in TV and film, which has been huge. I would not have even had that goal if it wasn't for Amplify and for Cheryl. So it's been really exciting to just think about how I can level up to a whole new level and use this process to build my fan base more. So I'm full on in creative mode, writing music, editing music. I'm learning how to produce for the first time and to mix, and doing it all here in my home studio, right where you can see my little soundproofing things up there. And
I've got those behind me too. I made these with my dad like 10 years ago before he passed away. And every time I move, I have different paint on the walls, and I always like reupholster them to fit the aesthetic. So yes for DIY studio and producing and doing all your own stuff. That's so I hear how empowered you are. You're like psyched about what's next for you. That's really awesome. Before we go to Charmin, because I want to hear Charmin's what's going on musically, Emma, where do you want to send people that are listening?
You can go to emmabackmusic.com, and it's BACK, just like your back. No more complicated than that. Or you can go to shesingsoutloud.com, is the work that I do with women songwriters.
Can we get to one from the other?
You can get to both from either.
That's so perfect. I love it. So I put the Emma Back Music, EMMABACK music, for those of you who are just listening,
Yep.
.com. And when people go there, what do you want them to do?
I would love for you to get my 6 free song bundle, which is one completely brand new track that will be coming out in 2021 that's unreleased. And it's kind of a more polished demo version, but it's sort of a work in progress that's there. And then you'll also get 3 songs from my most recent album, and then 2 songs from my first album. And
you're hooked up, essentially. You're getting like a lot of music. Your playlists are no longer going to be boring. You're going to have some new music for yourself. That is awesome. So, and there's more.
And if you then hop over to the She Sings Out Loud website from there, I have a free meditation, which is called the Core Heart Throat Visualization. It's all about really getting connected to your core, to the root of your power, so you can really bring out what you most want to offer into the world.
So many goodies, so much value here. I love that. So everyone, we're going to emmabackmusic.com and getting all the things. Those are your marching orders. I love that. And I love that you're working on fulfilling yourself musically and creatively, and then simultaneously, like you're walking the walk and talking the talk with the musicians you're working with. So that's so amazing. Charmin, I know you're doing the same thing. So tell us about what's going on for your music.
So my music, when I was writing it, was about my journey and discovering why it took me so long to do me. You know, it took me so long to bloom, and so I have a lot of songs that I use when I'm talking with people or when I'm doing my Monday night show at 7:00. See how I put it right in there. Yeah, and I do songs about being afraid, about feeling like you're not good enough. That was one of the early songs I wrote, of that voice that says you're not good enough. And for women who didn't have their own children, I write songs about that. I write songs about being locked in the past, where you're haunted by these words I should have said, things I should have done, things like that. Where I'm so into this statement that I heard by Dr. Joe.
Dispenza?
What he says, connect to the energy of the future. And I just had that all around me, and I'm very conscious of when I'm not doing it. I'm like, connect to the energy of the future. So love that. I love it myself. Yeah. So I did a course. So if you go to my website, there's charminnatoli.com.
And Natoli is spelled, tell everyone how you spell it. SHARMAN. NITTOLI. 2 T's, 1 L. Got it. That's in the chat. And we'll put that in the link. So we go to charminnatoli.com and.
You want another site, or do you want?
No. You said when people go there, what are we doing?
Yeah, when you go there, there's a lot of information about the program I was performing live. Now I'm doing it online, called Live Your Bloom.
Love it.
And I used to talk to people about that, and I would have a lot of people who would come up to me and say, I always wanted to paint. I wanted to get back to my painting. I wanted to get back to tap dancing. I wanted this, I wanted that. And you're like, well, why aren't you doing it? And then the stories start coming, and the stories are so profound, but basically they just didn't think it was important enough, and they put it on the side. Everybody else, let anybody else come to them and say, I want to paint, and you'll find a way of backing them. But for some reason, when people get older, they don't always make priorities out of them.
Yeah.
So I did a course, kind of soul searching, and it's called It's Your Time to Bloom. And that's in my site on the main page. It's Your Time to Bloom, which I'm launching in January, doing a bunch of Zooms where we can talk about this. A couple of free downloadable ebooks. One of them is called I Always Wanted To, but I Never Made the Time. Why not? And then I come up with,
I love that.
What I experienced. You know, these are my reasons, and they hold true for a lot of people. And then the course itself is an evergreen course that kind of helps you rediscover yourself, your strengths, what you want to do, where you want to go, and how you're going to have to change your life. Instead of having you down here, you are now on the top. I don't care if it's 10 or 15 minutes a day, but you're on the top. So whatever it is,
I love that.
15 minutes is powerful. It's powerful if you use it in the right way.
Yeah, I love that. And Jenna wrote, she loves the connect to the energy of the future. That's super powerful. All right. So our marching orders there, we are going to charmannatoli.com, and are we downloading something? What's happening?
Oh, yes. If you subscribe, which I would love for you to subscribe, my gifts are a couple of free tunes from my 2 CDs, a nice PDF that is supportive of the ebook that I have, which is more suggestions on how you can get yourself organized to change your life and admit that you're going to change, because you're going to have to change. And when you change, you're changing everything. You're changing your house, your relationships. One time I had a woman who wanted to divorce her husband because he was annoying her about her piano playing. He says, that's going to have to go. And she said, no, you're going to have to go. And I love it. I love it because, you know, that's power, you know.
Charmy, you're like you can't even like finish a thought about the download because you're just so lit up about like what's the content that's inside it. So this kind of energy is so infectious, and you're such a light in all of this. I love it so much. So we're going to charmannatoli.com. We're subscribing because we're going to get a bunch of free goodies. You guys are giving like all the stuff away, which is just amazing.
I want to say one thing, though. The knowledge of how to do this has come from Amplify, and that's the truth. And one incredibly empowering thing that Cheryl said last time I talked with her, when I was saying, I need help, I'm just like walking in circles here. She said, sometimes you just have learned enough, and then you're ready to move to another phase, and then the next time when you come back, you'll learn some more. So it's a thing of knowing the balance of learning and doing and marketing and learning and doing. And in Amplify, you can always ask a question and get an answer. And I love that. I just love that. It's a loving community and knowledgeable too.
And I'll second that by saying that it's the perfect balance of little things to learn and implement, and just really providing a space for you to really fulfill on all the things you know to do, but you've never had time for, and to create accountability structures. So it's like the perfect little bit of learning meets just the structure to take action.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Thank you both so much for saying that. I know it's so frustrating to like be guided through finding your journey and getting the answer. And sometimes you're like, just tell me the answer. So I also try to find that balance, because I'm frustrated like that sometimes too. And I'm like, I know there's value in like discovering for yourself. And you guys have heard, we have these hot seat coaching sessions where someone sits in front of the group and kind of gets not public within the group, coaching for me, which can be intense and personal and vulnerable, and it takes something to be there. And sometimes it's like, all right, I'm just gonna tell you the answers. And other times it's like, you have to go on this journey and discover it for yourself so that it's so much more powerful. And finding that balance has been some of the work we do. So yeah, it's there are a lot of balances between a lot of different things, and we kind of teeter between like taking new stuff in, but also not avoiding the overwhelm of having too much new stuff to take in, especially if we're already in other courses. Like, it's not a course, it's supposed to help you do other courses and, finish what it is already invested in. So you both are so amazing. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Emma.
Yeah. Well, also that if there's something that you want to do in your music career, chances are there's someone in Amplify that has done it or is also working on it. So there's just so much possibility. I feel like I hop on calls with people all the time just to say, hey, I'm trying to, do my Patreon campaign a little bit better. And there's all these people that have a wealth of knowledge about that, or I'm trying to do sync licensing or whatever it is. There's always a community for anything that you want to be doing in your music.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you. Yeah, and I think that's one of the really cool things about Amplify is that it's big enough that there's diversity in terms of what people have. I mean, there's diversity in general from age and race and gender and all the things, which makes me so happy. But also in what people are doing and where they are in their music careers, like you said. But it's also small enough that we know what's up, and it feels intimate enough that you can just reach out and say, "Hey, you've done this. What can I ping you about this?" And I think that's really valuable too.
Yeah. And if people are thinking about it, don't do what I did, which is I was going to join it before it was Amplify, I think 3 years ago.
You were?
Oh yeah. I've been on your email list for 5-7 years, something like that. So I've been saying for years, oh yeah, I should do that. Next month I'm going to join. Next month I'll have the money. Next month it will be worth it. I've been doing that for 3 years. And I just wish now that I'm in it, that I had joined back when I was releasing my first record. It would have made it so much easier. So just do it. If you're sitting on it and you're thinking next time, just don't wait, because 2021 is going to be a magical year.
You can cancel anytime. Yeah.
But that's when I say with Live Your Bloom, invest in this. I believe so strongly, and I realize that there are some really expensive courses out there, but that's just a choice you make. Yeah. Invest in yourself. Where do you see that taking you in a year? Where do you see that going? Because if you see yourself doing the thing that you've been putting, hey, 25 years I conceived of Bloom, and it went by in a blink. And so, yes, you wake up and you got a little arthritis and a little of this, a little of that, but in my head, and I'm not saying it doesn't bother me, because I was just playing with my husband inside, and I said, damn, my hand's a little stiff. What's going on? But, I'm going to do what I got to do, because this is the best time for me. So like my mom used to say, I would love to have my body that I had at 21, but with this head. I don't want that head anymore. I want this head right here, So, and in Amplify, I know if I ask for feedback on something, even in our group, I asked for some people to review something for me, and they did. Isn't it amazing how you wrote it and it looked okay to you, but somebody else's eyes says, "What is this? What is this?" And you need that feedback, and you can get it, and it's a family. It becomes a family. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's probably worth $200 a month at least. Just saying. And it's what, 37?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're not getting paid, by the way, to say this. This is just my opinion.
This totally, I mean, oh my gosh, look what you guys just did. Jenna just says, thanks, kids. Just put myself on the waiting list. The fact that she called us all kids means that she's our people. Jenna,
thank you, Jenna. Thank you, Jenna.
Oh man, yeah, I'm not paying any. This was all to just spread positivity and show the independent musician community what's possible despite the pandemic. Because I've been hearing so many wins, and I was like, I think this is a thing that needs to be public, not just within our lovely group, so that we can insert a little bit of hope into our entire industry. And so that's what these calls were. And they've turned into people talking about Amplify, which is beautiful. But they're not getting paid to say this. And it is $37 a month. And if you know that this is a long-term thing for you and you do the yearly thing, it ends up being $27 a month. You get 3 months free essentially if you go yearly. So those are the options. But yes, it's all on the website, inthekey.co/amplify below. And everyone, we're going to 2 websites right now. We're going to go to charmannatoli.com and we're going to subscribe and get a ton of awesome goodies. If you are a senior or a senior, like a parent or an aunt or an uncle or anyone, you absolutely need to send them, because also Charmin does very funny songs. She's got a song called I Like Big Fonts.
Print.
Sorry, I like big print.
Yeah, because I do.
Yeah,
big
hilarious.
14, 16, 18. I can't
I mean-
deal with 10 and 11. No.
Send your parents and your grandparents to the site, charminandtoli.com. And then we are going to Emma Back Music, and we are getting a ton of goodies there. And if you are a singer-songwriter and working on finding your voice, you may also find some serious connection with Emma there too. So explore all of these things. Ladies, I cannot thank you enough for A, being part of this community, being such lights and powerhouses, and B, being here today with us and being so generous with your time and sharing all this with our listeners. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, Emma.
Have a
Bye.
good rest of your day. Bye.
Bye-bye.